Hey guys, welcome to another useless bike review. This time I'm going to be reviewing my Ozonys Curve V8. And it's a useless bike review because you can't really get these anymore. When I got my frame like a year ago, you already couldn't really get them anymore. But I had seen it, and at one time in my life I wanted to have a real competition bike with all the competition trick parts, just to see what that was like. I don't usually ride pure trials. I did it before on a 24 for a little bit, but I didn't really dedicate enough time to it. But since about last August, I've been trying to dedicate as much time as possible to actually riding a pure trials bike, and this is the one that I chose. So I'm going to talk about how it's set up and what I've been doing with it, and what I like about it, what I dislike about it. Yeah, just for comparison's sake. I think there is a V9 out now, because Ozonys was kind of being sold when I bought this one, so the frames were really hard to get, and I think there were a couple of 20s available, whatever. It came in a 20 and a 26. This is a 26. There are new ones available. I don't know anything about them. I haven't even looked it up because I'm not going to buy one. But I think they're pretty similar from just like the little screenshots that I've seen. There may be little tweaks here and there, but it doesn't seem like big changes, except that it's orange and this one's blue. And I love this color. So let's get to it. So a competition trials bike. It's got to be light. It's got to have carbon parts. It's got to have rim brakes front and rear. It's got to have ground rims. It's got to have all those things. So that's what I went for with this one. I literally went through the catalog and picked out the lightest parts that weren't going to just break instantly on me, and put them on this bike. So carbon fork from Clean. It's HS33 rim brakes in the front. I didn't grind the front rims because that's just crazy. So it squeals like heck. And I can't really ride it around much because, competition bikes, you just can't, unfortunately. I could have put a disc on it, but that would have made it heavier, and I was going for light with this, so carbon fork. The frame, I just fell in love with. I mean, it's got these beautiful hydroform tubes. They're specialized for, you hope they did the finite element analysis and did everything to figure out the stresses and, make it as beautiful as possible. And it's got the triangulated brake area, to make it as stiff and strong as possible. And they recommend running it without a brake booster, but I liked it better with the brake booster, so I got I have a Racing Line carbon brake booster on here. It's HS33 front and rear. I've got the Trialtech, the M30 screw-on hub in the rear, 32 hole. It's not laced up any special, it's just made to be nice and strong. Hashtag rim, because that was the lightest one that I could buy. Actually, it was on sale, and it was light, so those were both perfect for me. It's a fixed dropout, so you need the tensioner. It's got the two-wheel tensioner that are so popular on most of the bikes nowadays. The tensioner was actually the only thing wrong with this bike when I got it. If you tightened the one jockey wheel all the way, it didn't spin anymore. So that was the only thing that was wrong with it, and I opted for, I'm not sure what this one is, but I opted for an aftermarket one that's red that matches really nicely with some custom jockey wheels with ceramic bearings, and I was just having fun with it. So, and this one works perfectly. I went with the Bones cranks because I've used those in the past. Actually, these are the ones that came off of my Ozonys iron, actually, so these are actually pretty old. It's got a different arm on the other side because I've trashed the original arm for these pedals. I liked it because it's 24 millimeter axle, so I could use, tried and true Hope bottom bracket, and it uses a cassette for the freewheel, and this is a clean front freewheel. It's a 135 engagement. You can get those. I mean, it's the same as the Monty, and there's a couple of them that are all the same with just different brand names on them. I like these cranks. They're 175s. They don't rub. The rear triangle is 135 hub spacing, but it doesn't rub. I got plenty of clearance back here. These are try-all pedals with Jitsi cages on them because I wanted the cages to be red to match the other stuff on here. I've got is that a Krukers? What is that? Yes, it's a Krukers stem. It's a 25 by 140. Sorry, no, it's a 20 by 140 stem. I didn't really. I was more concerned about the angle with this stem than with how super light it was, because at the time I don't think the cleans had come out yet that had the same measurements but were lighter. So that's what's on here, and I haven't changed it because it's a stem. It's a hashtag bar. It was the lightest in the catalog at the time, so I got that, and some pretty soft foam grips because I'm old and I need all the cushioning I can get. I was gonna originally go with some racing line brakes, but it was gonna be like $500 for a set of brakes, so I decided to go with the HS33s. I found these on Bike24 for the set. Both of them in silver were $100, so I figured that's awesome. I'm running the Jitsi blue pads in the back, and I'm running like the Trial, like the TR1AL company in the front, because those are supposed to be pretty good for rim brakes. I was running the Magura Reds or the Magura Blacks because those kind of work on polished rims, but I wasn't really getting the power that I wanted. So I went to these, the Trial brake pads, and they squeal a lot, but I'm not grinding the front rim because that's just crazy. So that's what I got. It works pretty good. It locks it up great. I've actually had people comment on how well it locks up the front for being polished, a smooth rim, and you know what are known as kind of the cheap pads. Jitsi reverse tires, front and rear, and this is what they look like after a year. I'll show you some close-ups. The front one is pretty much bald. I ride where there's a lot of sand, so I have to kind of be aware of that now because I just haven't changed it. Oh, the front rim, I've kind of forgotten what was on there. It was whatever the lightest in the catalog was, and then it's a Jitsi 100, you know, the Jitsi Race hub in red up front, because that's the lightest one in the catalog. And they're so funny because before you put these on, they literally just fall apart. The bearings come out and the spacers come out, because it's just like everything is made to be so light that there's nothing holding it together really until it's all screwed together. I've had no problems with it, but it's a front tires, or it's a front hub, so they don't get a whole lot of abuse. At least not the way I ride, because I don't do a whole lot of gaps to front and stuff yet. Yeah, the tires have been holding up great. I really, really, really love this rear tire. I have a new one on a different bike that I've just gotten, that I tried a different tire on initially, and I did not like the other tire, and went to this tire and just love it. I know what it feels like. I know the rebound characteristics of it. This one, like I said, it's been on for a solid year with a lot of riding, and there's some tread left, you know, and it's holding up great. I'm really enjoying it. So the bike comes in at it's a little over 18 pounds. I'm not exactly sure how much it weighs, but it's light enough for me. I can't afford to make it any lighter, and I don't want to start drilling holes in things that might break otherwise. Yeah, I'm loving it. Like I said, I've tried to dedicate as much time as I can to this to get better at trials in general, because doing street trials you tend to avoid certain things that are just better on a pure bike. You know, the longer wheelbase helps you just get up stuff. I don't know, the super lightness helps all around, especially for an older guy who doesn't need any extra weight to lift. So I've been having a ton of fun on this bike. I love the color. It had zero problems at all, except for the chain tensioner, one of the jockey wheels that was locked up. Not such a big deal. It's a tapered headset. It came with or they sent me the headset when I ordered it, so I didn't have to worry about that. It's a clean headset that comes with some of the clean bikes. 1 1/8 up top, 1 1/4, inch and a half down below. It's integrated. You know, works well with this fork. Yeah, what can I say? Now, there is something really interesting going here with the rear dropout that I'll show you. Okay, so here's the magic they've worked in the rear. Like I said, it's a 135 spacing in the rear, and it's for a 9mm dropout, like your standard bolt-on or through axle, or your standard skewer thing. But it's also got a hole in the frame because it's got these notches where you slide in your regular hub, 9mm hub, and then the bolts go through the frame, so it holds it in place, kind of like a through axle would. But you can still put in, you know, a regular 9mm hub, which I thought that's pretty cool, because I was looking at the pictures before I ordered the hub, and I was like, wait, is this hub going to fit? Does it need to be, you know, a bolt-on hub that doesn't have the little 9mm nubs? But it'll work for both, so that's pretty cool. never seen that before. And then the chain tensioner is the way that most all of the newer bikes are, with this double wheel tensioner. You know, it's got the little bolt that you tension it and then you tighten it to make that all good. It keeps it pretty tight. Works, gives extra chain wrap. Originally, when I bought this hub, it came with the alloy sprocket, and after a while, I was kind of making some pops and pings when I was doing pedal kicks and stuff, so I checked it out, and I was missing a couple of teeth. So I had to order another one, which meant I had to get the old one off, and if you've ever tried to get one of these off, you know it's a pain in the ass. I was really tempted to go with a splined system, but the splines are all heavier, and I was trying to make this light as possible, so the Traltech was the way to go, because they're 30 millimeter, or the M30, sorry, I guess that's the same thing, but the M30 screw-on is just the lightest that there is out there. This one is actually steel, because I didn't want to have to go through that headache again. The dropouts are nice and thick, welded into these, you know, hydroformed, beautiful tubes. It's nice and stiff. It's a really, really beautifully put together bike. I've had one other Ozonys before, the Ozonys Iron, which was a completely different bike. You know, it was steel and a street trials bike. But I loved that bike. I didn't really have any problems with it. You know, so can't say anything bad about Ozonys that I know of. I mean, when this bike came out, the company was being sold. So things were kind of up in the air, but they have put out a V9 now, I guess, a 20-inch and a 26-inch. I don't know anything about them because I don't need one. So yeah, that's it for back here. So the rear part of a Trials frame, where what would be the seat stay area, gets a lot of attention on the modern frames, because you want this area to be as stiff as possible, because you're putting a lot of pressure through here to the drivetrain, to the rear, and it also acts as a brake booster to keep it from spreading the frame when you're giving it good brakes. So they have, you know, it's triangulated in as many possible ways as you can without, you know, going through the rim, which you can't do. Most of the builds that I've seen don't run a brake booster on this, but it just felt better with a brake booster to me. I initially had the Jitsi one-piece one, but I cracked 2 of those, so finally gave up and just went with the Racing Line, which seemed to be kind of the only other one besides the Echoes that were available. So that's what I went with. And this area is really beautiful. It's nice and tight because, you know, you've got a lot of stuff going on here that, you know, there's just not a lot of space for. But they did a really good job. Everything fits together really nicely. I don't hit my ankle on the cylinder too often. Yeah, it's a really beautifully done bike. I'm really glad that I got this. I was initially looking at some kind of cheaper run-of-the-mill bikes, but I decided to go for this one because it was possibly going to be my only pure trials bike ever, so I wanted to do it right, and really, really happy with the experience.